beautiful people. How are ya? I hope you're having a great day. I've been doing some YouTube shorts, and I'm wondering how many of you have been watching those shorts. And how many of you are new subscribers from watching those shorts? I'd love to know that. They don't take a lot of time to do because I go through old videos, but they take a bit of time, a little bit of time, no big deal to edit. Once I decide what it is that I'm going to extract from a video. And those shorts have helped me a lot be able to get some things done around here. And so I appreciate you guys. And so today I want to talk about the importance of cortisol in fibromyalgia that relates to glucose levels, PTSD, and chronic pain. I'm not sure how much of this will go on today's video, so let's get on with our topic for today. Our endocrine glands on top of our kidneys produce and release cortisol, a glucocorticoid steroid hormone. The adrenal glands
those three classes of 5 types according to the receptors to which they bind.
Google must have thought I was talking to her because she started talking. The adrenal glands, small triangular shaped glands on top of our kidneys, produce these hormones. They also regulate our metabolism, blood pressure, immune system, release adrenaline or epinephrine, and the main effect of cortisol is to help regulate our body's response to stress by producing stress hormones. For this video, I'll cover how cortisol is released due to PTSD and chronic pain. Here we go. Cortisol helps to control the body's use of fats, proteins, and carbohydrates through the regulation of metabolism. It suppresses inflammation, increases blood sugar, and can decrease bone formation. In times of stress, this hormone can provide an energy boost. It also controls the sleep-wake cycle. The hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, or HPA axis, is involved in this process. The hypothalamus, located in the brain, sends signals to the pituitary gland, also in the brain, and the adrenal glands to produce hormones in response to those signals. The hypothalamus and pituitary gland can sense whether the blood has the appropriate amount of cortisol circulating. Here's the process that occurs during acute stress. The hypothalamus produces CRH, corticotropin releasing hormone. This stimulates the pituitary gland to secrete ACTH, adrenocorticotropin hormone. ACTH stimulates the adrenal glands to make and release glucocorticoids, cortisol, and hormones into the blood. During physically and emotionally stressful situations, when our body needs additional resources and energy to endure unusual demands, along with other hormones produced by the adrenal glands, epinephrine and norepinephrine are often activated. Too much cortisol over time, because of stress, can cause an array of issues like high blood pressure, headaches, and anxiety. high blood sugar, digestive issues, nervous system problems, a weakened immune system, and heart disease. There are multiple kinds of stress. Acute stress happens during sudden danger that is within a short period of time, like barely avoiding a car accident or being chased by an animal. Chronic stress is long-term stress that occurs when an ongoing situation is experienced that causes frustration or anxiety, like having a frustrating job or having a chronic illness. Traumatic stress occurs when we experience a life-threatening event that causes fear and a feeling of helplessness. For example, an extreme weather event like a tornado, or experiencing war or sexual assault. In some cases, these events can lead to post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD. When we are experiencing any of these types of stress, our body releases cortisol. Generally, studies have shown that when a person's stress levels are high, cortisol is high. And when things are normal, cortisol levels are lower. And this is normal. Glucocorticoid receptors are in almost all of our tissues. Cortisol can affect nearly every organ system in our body, including our nervous system, immune system, cardiovascular, respiratory, reproductive, musculoskeletal, and integumentary systems. Integumentary is our skin, hair, and nails. I find it interesting that cortisol triggers glucose and sugar to be released from the liver for fast energy. It's been suggested that in those with type 2 diabetes, there may be a possible link between cortisol, the steroid hormone, and its release, and insulin resistance, and metabolic syndrome. Many studies confirm this. Higher cortisol levels may decrease beta cell function in the pancreas and increase levels of hemoglobin A1C. It's also believed this will worsen with age. So, is cortisol causing blood sugar issues in fibromyalgia? Catecholamines are the hormones dopamine, adrenaline, and noradrenaline. These are found to be the same as people without fibro. So even without higher cortisol or catecholamine levels in fibromyalgia, patients with fibro are nearly 4 times more likely to have metabolic syndrome. It's possible that this abnormal regulation of the central nervous system and the dysregulated HP axis and some dysregulated cytokines may contribute to this. Only a subset of trauma victims will get PTSD. Over the years, many studies have looked at cortisol and PTSD. The results of these studies are conflicting and variable. But you would expect cortisol to be high. But in most cases, cortisol was found to be lower in patients with PTSD overall. Low in the within the normal endocrinology, low in the well within the normal endocrinological
endocrinological
That is not how I would have pronounced it. So, well within the normal endocrinological range and lower compared to healthy controls. So, cortisol is still considered normal and not an endocrine problem in PTSD. And so symptoms for lower cortisol could include lethargy, or do you say lethargy? Low blood pressure, poor appetite and digestion, muscle weakness, and changes in our skin, including dark patches. I should have put hairspray on my hair. However, catecholamines were found to be higher in PTSD patients. I mean, that kind of makes sense. Dopamine helps regulate emotions, memory, movement, and other things, while adrenaline is responsible for the fight or flight response, and noradrenaline, also called norepinephrine, helps the body respond to stress by increasing a person's heart rate and blood pressure, as well as mood regulation and the ability to think. So it is low cortisol levels that are believed to prolong and worsen PTSD. What is known is that cortisol helps contain the catecholamine system. It brings down the high levels of adrenaline that are released, and not enough cortisol to bring down the sympathetic nervous system when it's important to calm down may partially explain the formation of traumatic memory or generalized triggers, since adrenaline and norepinephrine are responsible for memory formation and arousal. But the crutch of this is that the levels of cortisol and catecholamines will vary among individuals. What else is new? So, we've learned that it's difficult for researchers to measure cortisol, but compared to healthy controls, cortisol levels in individuals with fibromyalgia are different when waking in the morning and 1 hour after waking compared to healthy people. According to a study published in 2005, a strong relationship between cortisol levels and current pain symptoms was observed. Our early in the morning symptoms are associated with variations in function of the HPA, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. And also there's a strong relationship between cortisol levels and current pain symptoms at the waking time point and 1 hour after waking, but not later in the day. There was no relationship between cortisol and fatigue or cortisol and stress. So our unusual pattern in the morning of cortisol, they're saying, is not due to stress or fatigue. For me, that's kind of good news, because do you ever feel like you get tired of blaming something on being stressed? I do. Hi, Tessa. I heard him. There you are. What are you doing? You want to come up here and say hi? Tesla hasn't said hello for a while, have you? So can you say hi to everybody? Sometimes they like to see you. Yeah, because you're so cute. Yeah. And also, in another study in 2001, researchers found no evidence of disturbed cortisol reactivity to acute stressors or to ongoing daily stress, even though the average cortisol levels were higher in Fibro and RA patients than controls. So it's not believed that cortisol levels in fibromyalgia are due to stress. In fact, in that 2001 study, the patients had lower levels of stress than the controls. In a 2021 study, urinary and plasma cortisol levels were not found to be different in fibromyalgia patients compared to healthy controls, and no correlation to the clinical features in fibromyalgia. So how about that? think about what cortisol is supposed to do for us. It's supposed to minimize inflammation, keep us alert, fight off fatigue, maintain a healthy metabolism, prevent brain fog, balance blood sugar levels and blood pressure, assist with cognitive processes, and help develop the fetus during pregnancy. Because of the discrepancies we experience with fibromyalgia is why cortisol has been looked at as the culprit. I think the verdict is still out, but given that many of us do have an exaggerated response to stress, or maybe I should speak for myself here, we should do our best to keep our stress levels down. Do what makes our heart happy, like bathing in sunshine, listening to music you love, or just slowing down. That's what I'm trying to do. That type A personality at retirement was still there. It didn't go away. It just kept right on going. A year and a half later, and I realized I got to slow down. I don't want to stop completely. I'm having too much fun, but I was overwhelming myself. So I hope you learned something. I send you gentle hugs and support. Love you.